This is not good.
Yeah, tell me about it. What the hell is her central up to?
Something I hoped we'd never hear again. The rattling of sabers.
Hi, I'm Rachel.
And I'm Matt.
And this is
We Are All Kosh.
a Babylon 5 rewatch. I have a couple of important episodes or things to discuss. Not important, just like, whoa, did you guys know? I did not know that Dudley the Dragon is as popular as it currently probably is. We have another podcast called Gare Can Get It, where we talk about everything that Garrett Wynne Davies, the seminal Canadian actor who is on Forever Knight as Nick Knight, has ever been in. And that includes narrating a Christmas episode of Dudley the Dragon, which is a Canadian kids program with a giant stuffed dragon. And most of the episodes are available on YouTube, but for some reason, the one that we talked about was not available on YouTube. So because we had Meg, who puts in a lot of legwork to find these really shitty old properties that no one has bothered to save, she found it. And we put it up on YouTube, which is the first time I've had YouTube flag my content as copyrighted content, which I thought was really interesting. But
Considering what you've uploaded in the past.
considering all the other random shit I put on our YouTube channel, but it was like, oh, we recognize this is copyrighted material, but the copyright holder doesn't care if you put it on YouTube. And I was like, oh, okay, all right. If you're here from Dudley the Dragon, because we've gotten like 30 subscribers. It has taken us 2.5 years to get to almost 200. And then in a week, we're at 200 and I think 26 or something now. So if you're here from Dudley the Dragon,
Welcome.
hello, and I'm sorry. That's not our usual content. I'm waiting to see how long it takes for people to realize that I don't actually post obscure episodes of television and leave. But maybe not. Maybe they were like, oh, cool,
Well, I mean,
a podcasting network.
You kind of do have a pattern of posting obscure television content.
I don't need your commentary in this moment.
That's literally what I'm here for.
I told Meg, wouldn't it be kind of fun, actually? Because a lot of the episodes that we found an episode of this television show called The Matrix, which it only ran for like one season. It has nothing to do with The Matrix, the movie,
Right.
except that it has Carrie-Anne Moss in it.
Oh.
Weirdly.
So when she was in The Matrix, the movie, that was the second thing she'd been in
that
called
was
The Matrix?
called The Matrix, yeah. And it's an incredibly obscure, like you cannot find it. There are not copies. It never came out on DVD. It was never released. It aired once and then it disappeared into the ether.
Okay.
And so, of course, Gare's on one episode of that because he does have a tendency to pick up TV shows that will disappear and then never come back again.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Hallmark. Okay, pause a minute. Let me go back to The Matrix. We found a tape tree tape because the Garrett Wynne Davies fan club used to have a tape tree where you would tape things on TV that he was in.
Used to. They still do.
Well, somebody found their tape tree. They were like, oh my God, I have this tape tree tape that had the episodes of The Judge on it. It had the Matrix on it. And it had this other one called, I think, The Hidden Door. It was like the Hallmark version of The Twilight Zone.
Okay.
It was as bad as you're thinking it was. And it's another one that more or less completely disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
And we found them and I uploaded them. And I get every once in a while, people are like, please, do you have more? Do you got any more of that? And I'm like, no, it's literally the only preserved episode of The Matrix. And I have it on our YouTube channel, which is kind of fun. But I was like, would that not be kind of cool, actually, to like scrape the internet for these random forgotten television shows and find them and post them for people to see? And Meg was like, don't tempt me with a good time, because she would definitely do that. Anyway, that was kind of funny. So welcome if you're here from Dudley the Dragon. We do a lot of obscure stuff, but mostly it's just shoot the shit about it. So I don't know how I feel about people finding us. I've always got two schools of thought about that, because we sort of operate in the dark. We put out a lot of content, but we don't have a huge audience, which is fine.
We don't have a huge audience, and we don't advertise.
Right. But I also just let people find us. I figure if you want to find us, you will. And that's where we live. So if you feel like advertising among your friends and family, feel free. But I'm never going to pay to advertise the podcast. So we do have a loyal following, because people who find us tend to be the type of people who should find us. But we don't have a large following, which is fine by me. That's not why we do this. Anyway, we also talked about Zardoz with Cinematic Anarchy, which you should go check out. Cinematic Anarchy. Chris is a really nice guy, and he has a lot of fun talking about these really obscure movies. But we're going to be
If you want obscure niche
movies, Chris is where you need to go.
Yeah.
Cinematic Anarchy. So we are actually doing a loincloth sorcery series with Chris. So we will be talking about, we started with Ulysses, then we did Zardoz, and pretty soon we're about to jump into the
80s.
Conan, Sonia, all of those. So we have a lot of fun chatting with him if you want to go check us out there. I'm going to try to start a Ko-Fi this week. I'm almost done with business, and then we'll get into the other business.
All right.
Babylon 5 business. Because you can do one-off donations if anybody's interested in doing that to support our network. And Matt and I are going to try to start doing more movie episodes, but just for Patreon.
Yeah.
So if you are not on the Patreon, we have 18 patrons now. Hello. Hi. Who are you? Not all of them are paid, but that's okay. I don't really care. But that's where I'm going to be posting movie episodes. So anyway, there's always a link to that in our show notes. Check it out. Also, I'm going to reference a website in a few minutes for the distance from Earth to Babylon 5.
Okay.
And I'll put the link to that in the show notes. And I'm going to go back and start putting in the link to all of the Lurker's Guide, because that's where I get those facts. The JMS preserved forum posts are all from this one website, and I really should be linking it, and I'm going to go back and add that in. So if you're interested in reading the full text, that will be there. Oh, we never do business at the beginning. I just wanted to get it all out. And we can really talk about this. I mean, you thought the last episode of Babylon 5 was good. Oh my God. Why were we sleeping on Gropos? What the fuck was this? This is season 2, episode 10, Gropos. Which I thought had more Garibaldi backstory in it. I remember more Garibaldi backstory, but I didn't. This was more Stephen Franklin. I was surprised, pleasantly surprised, but surprised. This originally aired the 8th of February, 1995. And it takes place from June 20th to June 23rd of 2259, which means it takes place over our 250th wedding anniversary.
Woohoo!
Congratulations, honey. It had a Psi rating of 7.49.
Oh, so pretty good.
That feels falsely inflated.
I thought this episode was all right.
But okay. And like a disclaimer, I don't know if anybody's realized this or not, but I cannot hold military hierarchy in my head. It is not a thing. I would have to have some sort of chart up on the wall, and I don't. So if I fuck that up, I'm going to fuck it up.
The people who can hold it in their head have looked at lots of charts, and it varies by military organization.
God, I know. And this is a made-up military organization. I don't know the real one, and you want me to know the made-up one? I have a hard time remembering how my cousin is related to me. And you want me to remember... You want me to remember military hierarchy that does not affect me? I can't do it. I can't. I'm sorry. So if I fuck that up, I just apologize. A blanket apology in advance. This was written by Larry DiTillio, our buddy from the Shira days.
Oh, okay.
Larry's written quite a few. This is another Larry DiTillio, and it was directed by Jim Johnston,
Gotcha.
the guy who's responsible for Soul Hunter. We've seen both of these guys before.
I don't.
I know you haven't been holding
things.
it. I know you haven't. That's why Jim Johnston did Soul Hunter and Larry DiTillio was the She-Ra guy. There are actually like maybe 6 totally uncredited people in this movie, in this episode. There's Frank. I don't even remember who Frank is. Private Ellison, Private Nazim, Private Moretti, Private Martin, Private Romano, and Cavins are all uncredited. So there's
So Frank,
there's so many people
I
they
think
just didn't credit them all.
General Franklin, whose son is Dr. Franklin. General Franklin has a person in his command that they just call Frankie.
Yeah, Frank doesn't have a credit. He's uncredited.
I thought it was interesting that he doesn't give him a different nickname
No,
because he should be Frankie.
he just calls him Frank.
Oh,
At the end, he's like, Frank,
I made
give
a
us
note
a minute.
because he's. Oh, he does. I thought it was Frankie.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I do have a cousin named Frankie, in fact. Full name Francesco. Anyway, I'm going to go through some of these people. It's not going to take that long, but I did look up the difference between featuring and guest starring.
Okay.
Because some of these people are guest stars
Mhm.
and some of these people are featuring. And so guest star means that you are a character or an actor who is brought onto the show to play a character who has a pivotal role in one or more plot lines in the episode.
Okay.
So the guy who plays Dr. Franklin's dad is a guest star.
Okay.
Featuring means you are brought on as a background character, but you are likely to be recognized. So you are someone who's been in other things and you're brought on to be in the background. You may have 1 or 2 lines, but you do not play a pivotal role in any of the plots. You are simply atmosphere, background.
Okay.
That's the difference. And now we all know, because the place where I grab the names from separates them by whether or not they're guest stars or featured, which I think is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So the guy who plays General Richard Franklin, which is funny because Stephen Franklin's real name is Richard Biggs.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. I see where you're going there. Gotcha.
This guy's name is Paul Winfield. He died in 2004 at 64, and he died March of 2004, and Richard Biggs dies in May of 2004.
Aw.
So they both died within a couple of months of each other in 2004. And Richard Biggs, I think, was 44.
Yeah.
Yeah. His first credit is in 1965 for an episode of Perry Mason. So he's been around a while. He was Jim in a Huckleberry Finn adaptation in 1974, which I'm 100% positive is definitely aged well and should be watched. He played Martin Luther King Jr. in a biopic called King in 1978. He was in Roots: The Next Generation. He was also in the Fall Guy TV series, which we watched The Fall Guy. It's a really fun movie. I did not know it was a TV show. That's one where it was a TV show before it was a movie, not the other way around. He played Jim again in 1990 in a show called Back to Hannibal: The Return of Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn.
What?
Don't ask me about it. He was in an episode of Walker, Texas Ranger, obviously. And I want you to keep track of how many times I say that. So I thought maybe it'd be fun to do a Walker, Texas Ranger index. How many of them have been in Walker, Texas Ranger? His last credits are all kind of themed. He was in 12 episodes of Touched by an Angel. And then he did a bunch of kids' 10 Commandments movies, like teaching the kids the 10 Commandments movies.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, he really went religious at the end there. I wonder if that was on purpose. Probably because he was in Touched by an Angel and he was a recurring character. They were like, hey, do you want to narrate for this? Ryan Cutrona is Sergeant Major Plug, the guy who screams at everybody. What the stroking H? That guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He's in one episode of Alien Nation, which I thought was pretty interesting. He's also in Hot Shots. Not part 2, just Hot Shots. And in a show called Millennium, which is one of those shows that I know exists. And if you tell me about Millennium, I can see the cover of the DVDs, but I have no idea what it's about. So maybe I need to look into that. But it's from 1997, so technically speaking, we could cover it on our network since we sort of specialize.
In 90s stuff, yeah.
He was also in a TV show called Rangers, but not Walker, Texas Ranger. I know. Ken Foree plays one of the PFC Turnbow. He's the guy who IMDb referred to as large, likable, and muscular. He started on, I think is he large? I think he's the guy who's actually named Large.
Okay.
Yeah. And he started on General Hospital in 1963. That's his first credit. He was also in the Fall Guy TV show, and he was in a show called 227 with Paul Winfield. They were both in multiple episodes.
Who's Paul Winfield?
The guy who plays General Richard Franklin.
Okay.
And then he was in 62 episodes of Kenan and Kel as Roger Rockmore.
Interesting.
And he played in a movie that we probably need to... I'm going to add this to the list right underneath Fortress 2, Reentry. Samurai Priest Vampire Hunter. As a character named Max the Blood Pusher.
Wow.
I kind of want to see it. And then there's Morgan Hunter, who plays Private Kleist. These are all people who I think were featured, so they're like in the background. He was in an episode of Walker, Texas Ranger, and he's had no credits since 2001. And there's no data on like when he was born or if he died or where he went or anything, except that there's a second Morgan Hunter on IMDb who died in 1995.
Oh.
So
maybe
I don't know.
duplicate.
It's a mystery.
Maybe same person.
It's a mystery. Maybe he's an alien. I don't know. And then there's Marie Marshall, who plays Dodger. And she's really only been in like The Pretender and Early Edition.
Okay.
She doesn't have a long credit history. And then there's Art Chudabala, who plays, it's literally Chudabala, Chudabala,
Okay.
who plays Private Yang,
Gotcha.
Large's counterpart. And he got his start in a Christian Slater skateboarding cult classic called Gleaming the Cube. I kind of want to add that to the list too.
Just for the name.
For Christian Slater.
Yeah.
All I could think when I hear Christian Slater is that line from Buffy the Vampire Slayer where she's like, I just want to get old, marry Christian Slater, and die. From the movie Buffy. Okay. He was also in Walker, Texas Ranger, and a television show called Freaky Links, which I kind of want to look up. But he's also featured on a podcast series called All the Asians on Star Trek, which I kind of want to listen to because I bet that's a really long list. Did they get every Asian that was on Star Trek?
Or is it a joke that there's not many?
I don't know. It's a podcast series, so it's out there. And it's his top credit.
Okay.
So I don't know. We should add ourselves because Strange and Beautiful Book Club is on IMDb. I feel like we should add all the rest of us to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Maggie Egan is, she reprises her ISN reporter. She's always the ISN reporter. Anytime they put it up, she's the one who puts it up. She's the one who's our reporter. And she appeared on an episode of Alien Nation called The Game with Andreas Katsoulas. So that was kind of fun.
Who we don't see this episode.
No, we don't. No. Apparently this episode went way over budget. Like crazy over budget.
I mean, just the CG scenes.
And there's not actually that many actors. They digitally composited in the actors, which probably cost just as much as just getting the cast and crew to wander out onto the set. Because a lot of them are not in uniform. You could have had them put on anything vaguely futuristic and been like, can you just stand on set and we'll give you, we'll do an extra nice craft services table tomorrow. Like, thanks guys. Anyway. We get some Garibaldi backstory, which was previously mentioned in points of departure, but I didn't pick up on it. It's just listed in the lurker thing always has connections.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll tell you what episodes are referenced in that episode in case you're really interested. Connolly, we do mention Connolly, and that is the lady who's in charge of the dock workers from By Any Means Necessary.
Yeah.
Ivanova's like, Miss Connolly's not going to be happy about all the overtime they had to put in. This is the last appearance of Lou Welch.
Oh, no.
I know. Maybe he snuck on board with all the Gropos. He just doesn't come back. Which means the last time we see him is when he's like, looks like everybody's going to bed, and they're carrying an unconscious person past him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. JMS, the lurker guide for this is usually scroll like it's long. This was like, I didn't have to scroll. It was just one laptop screen's worth of text because JMS had nothing to say about this episode except that it went over budget. And because of that, he had to make 2 other episodes that were far smaller than he was anticipating so that he could make up the difference in the budget. I mean, that's pretty much it. I'll be honest. Can you imagine you watch The Coming of Shadows and then you come back and you're like, what the fuck is this shit? It's fine. This is what we were talking about. This is a moment of rest.
Mm-hmm.
It would have read as a moment of rest in 1995. This was a stressful episode. I was stressed this entire episode.
Oh, staging military for an invasion?
Yes. Yeah. And then when Delenn almost gets assaulted and... Yeah, there was quite a few moments in this where I was like, I just got to breathe through this. I just got to breathe through this. Oh, I mean, it's okay. It's fine. It's, there's a lot going on. I know we had a Strange and Beautiful Book Club episode due out last Friday, and we just didn't do it because it's going to come out this Friday. It's not off the table. It's just been a real struggle to find the creative spirit when gestures broadly. So it's just I like my art to be, sometimes I want art to have nothing to do with real life. Sometimes I want art to be something that's sometimes I want art to enhance what's happening in my real life or comment on it or
to
whatever.
Reflect on it after things happen in real life.
But not right now. I wanted escapism, and this was not an escapist episode because we start with Ivanova, and she's like, this is so nice. There's no traffic. There's no complaints. There's no noise. Londo and Jakar have holed up in their own quarters, so they're not even talking to each other. So even that's not the usual amount of problem. She says traitors, troublemakers, and ambassadors are all tucked snugly in their little beds. So everybody's asleep, and it's fine.
Knock on wood.
She goes, I love this time of night and no night, which we cover again because she's like, I love this time of night. And Tech One is like, there's no night in deep space. Time is a meaningless concept if you think about it.
I didn't know I was in this episode.
And then the jump gate comes online and he's like, wow, there's 6 ships and they're all Earth Force. And I'm receiving a code 10, which is an ultraviolet docking request. Inform Captain Sheridan and the Dockers Guild immediately. And then she goes, there's always something. And I want to just point out, for the record, there is no way on Earth, on Babylon 5, on anywhere, that you can drop 25,000 fucking people on what amounts to a small city.
Right. And have them have space to all sleep there.
What about the...
That's 10% of the population of the station.
What about the life support systems? Is there a cap on how much the life support systems can handle? What about resources? Do they have enough food? Do they have enough water? These people are there for 3 days. What about just the waste? What about the additional amount of human waste that is going to be produced by 25,000 people?
10% feels like a reasonable buffer in your system design. So,
okay,
a 10% increase shouldn't break the system. 20%, 25%.
Yeah, but all at once. All at once.
Right, but at any moment, the system should be able to handle some percentage just jump in usage
It's still
without
some
breaking.
bullshit.
Well, yeah.
Right? Okay,
Yeah.
what if each one of them consumes but does not release, say, a gallon of fluid, a gallon of water while they're on the station? They're taking 25,000 gallons of water with them just in additional fluid that's leaving with the humans that came and left, right? Not to mention, they are literally putting them in people's quarters without telling them that they're putting them in their quarters.
I bet they sent out emails, but Kefir didn't check his email.
I bet they didn't. I bet they were like, you are here. You are being housed on Earth Force's dime, so we are allowed to do anything that we want.
Well, yeah, obviously they're allowed to change enlisted
This is just crazy.
housing situations.
It's crazy. Crazy that you wouldn't tell Sheridan that they were coming.
Oh, yeah. Tell Sheridan in advance. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, it's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't care if it's secret because they're like, oh, it was classified. Okay. So he's a captain in Earth Force. He's in charge of this station. He should have been informed.
Right.
And then you inform the command staff so that Garibaldi has people in place to be able. They don't even tell Garibaldi. Garibaldi shows up while everyone's getting off the ship, and he's like, "Hey, Ivanova, what's going on here?" And she's like, "Oh, right, yeah, we were going to tell you."
Yeah.
I mean, you could have posted that like Dark Star is going to be closed from June 20th to June 23rd for extermination or whatever. You don't have to tell everyone that you are buttoning everything down because 25,000 basically infantry troops are going to be here for 3 days, and we want to make sure everybody stays safe.
Yep.
All right, there's more on that coming. Trust me, because I have a lot to say about it. Because this is when they call in, and it's like, oh, hey, Captain John Sheridan, commander of Babylon 5. Oh, welcome aboard, sir. This is to General Richard Franklin, who is Dr. Franklin's dad.
Yep.
And he's like, I'm sorry for the delay. You know, nobody told us you guys were coming. And he's like, oh, yeah, that's because the operation was classified. And in the meantime, I'm going to need billets for myself and my people. And he's like, oh, okay, cool. How many? And he's like, yeah, 25,000. He's like, I'm sorry, what, 25,000? I don't really have space for it. And he's like, yeah, you're going to have to find it because they're not going to stay on the transport for 3 days. That's ridiculous.
Bruh.
I don't intend for my troops to be sitting aboard transports the whole time. Okay, but like...
you should have warned us.
I feel like Sheridan could have put his foot down there and been like, I was not told in advance, so I don't have space for you.
He runs this facility.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like the nuanced military law stuff, but generally, if you're in a like isolated environment, like a ship, the person running the ship has final say on what's happening.
Yeah.
I would imagine Babylon 5 is like that. Just like General Franklin has final say over anything while on his ships.
Yeah.
And he may have like extra judgment on his decisions when he gets back to Earth. Sheridan probably has the same level of authority. He has the final say. But in this case, he's outranked.
What about the expense? What about the expense of keeping 25,000
Well, it's
troops?
Earth Force.
So?
Earth Force pays for Earth Force stuff.
No, because we just talked about how Earth Force coming in and using their docks is taking away revenue from Babylon 5.
Oh, yeah, loss of revenue for the station. They probably have to eat that. But as far as they probably get to charge back to Earth Force Central for compensation for the cost of housing all these people.
One hopes. But then they have to pay the dock workers more because they're working overtime. There's like the knock-on effect of tying up Babylon 5 for 3 days. What about the loss of tourism? Because you don't have any space to put anybody.
Yeah.
What if you had...
Maybe it's like in property insurance, there are... You can claim loss of revenue. Like if your business is closed for repairs.
Yeah.
Because there was a water leak in the ceiling or something, you can file an insurance claim for your lost business.
Right.
During that repair time. They probably file a claim with Earth Force Central.
Well, probably just for the resources, because we know that they're not operating in the green right now because of the increased number of Earth Force transports coming through. It's just, what if they had a diplomatic envoy coming and now there's no docking space? What if they got assaulted by...
The fact that they showed up unannounced is ridiculous.
Yes, I know. I'm highlighting the absurdity of that as the basis for this plot. That never is 25,500.
That makes their cover story of just like extra reserve troops for Io. That makes their cover story look suspicious.
It does.
That they're coming in unannounced.
Right.
If this was just a regular reserve troops for Io, they would have announced. They would have informed Babylon 5 at least a few days in advance.
Yeah.
Hey, reserve troops for Io are coming in.
Yeah.
In 3 days, we need housing space for 25,000 troops.
Right. Make it look business as usual.
That reinforces their cover story.
Right.
But showing up unannounced.
Oh, so secret you can't even tell the leader of
Hella
Babylon
sus.
5? Yeah,
Right.
super sus. But Sheridan's like, there's a Dr. Franklin on the station. Is he any relation? He's like, oh yeah, he's my son. It's like, I'll tell him you're here. He's like, nah, please don't.
I'll take care of that.
Yeah, I'll attend to it when my people are settled. Okay, you may carry on, Captain. And then he just leaves. And Sheridan's like,
25,000?
Okay, yes, sir. Sure.
Yeesh. And then the intro.
You're right. And then we come to everybody getting off, which I do like the CGI spaceport. The large room full of like transports with them getting off and walking through it is a really cool. Oh, Babylon 5 is fucking huge. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
There
cool.
are
That's cool.
very large spaces.
Because a lot of times it looks very cramped. We only get the size of a set for them to be on. So to add that CG was really cool. I really liked that moment. But this guy is trying to sound like a really hard
Drill sergeant
guy without being able to actually swear. Because he's like, keep it moving, space grunts, and bite the chat. This ain't no church social. What the stroke in H? Okay.
I guess that's
hell, maybe?
TVEs for what the fucking hell are you doing?
And to Ellison, which I have to imagine is a reference to Harlan Ellison. Feels right.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, what are you doing here? You're in Green Squad. And he grabs him and switches him to the other line. Like, you're in the wrong line, asshole. Moves him to the other line. And then we're sticking our hand in this reader thing. Do they have a little chip?
Yeah, they must have
An
a little
RFID
chip
thing.
Yeah.
I guess that would be for identification, like dog tags. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Upgrade to dog tags.
What if you lose both hands?
Maybe it's in your forearm.
Maybe it's like the VIN number on cars. There's like 6
There's
of them.
more of them. This is just the most convenient one for a scanner.
Yeah, you have one that's actually engraved on your thigh bone or something, so they can find it later.
Yeah.
So they're all getting in line. That's really the only thing that's happening here. And they're trying to get off quickly. And this is when Ivanova is trying to direct everyone, but it's this huge flood of people. And Garibaldi walks up and he's like, hey, so what's going on? What's going on? And Ivanova's like, Earth Force calls it a classified operation. I call it a nightmare, a.k.a. a shit show.
Briefings at 0900 if we survive.
They didn't tell Garibaldi, which means security is not helping them.
Because this is just going through the docks.
Yeah. So they're being taken to billets without security actually being able to keep track of where all of these people are going. Garibaldi goes, leave it to the infantry to ruin my morning. And this is when Ivanova's like, hey, can you complain later, actually? I need you to seal this area. Nobody gets in except military personnel. I mean, that ship is fucking sailed. That's sailed, okay? They're already, the cat's out of the bag. The soldiers are off the ship. You should have told security ahead of time. But he's like, you got it. You know, I'll take care of it. And this is when we come to our briefing. And they're like, okay, what's your status? And like, we've tripled and quadrupled up and we're still 400 billets short, which is nothing compared to what this has done to our docking schedule. And then they're like, well, you think we got problems now? Wait until all of these ground pounders hit the wreck areas. This is horrifying.
Yeah.
Horrifying.
You would have to have a rotating schedule of who's allowed to be in the common areas all at one time.
Except this is like free time. They can't regulate it. These people are just...
They can regulate it somewhat for just
logistically?
not overwhelming.
Yeah.
Like, what's an analogy? Like if you're on a big cruise ship
Yeah.
and you go to a port city and not everybody gets off at the boat at the same time.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to overload the local infrastructure.
What's the below decks episode of the corollary episode to this episode? Is it a couple of security officers keeping ground pounders from beating up lurkers for 3 days?
Who knows?
Because anybody can just wander into the infrastructure areas of Babylon 5.
Mm-hmm.
So nothing says that these ground pounders aren't going down to Brown Sector for...
A good time.
Yeah. Of varying types of good time.
Did you catch the line that one of the dancers was missing from?
Did I make a note about that? Yes, I did. Thank you. We are going to get there. I'm going to talk about that. Don't get me started early. I just want to point out there's a lot of not great moments in this episode.
Right.
Because they're trying to convey the chaos that would be created by 25,000, effectively just like the lowest of the low, the soldiers that know they're going to die.
Mm-hmm.
You're so desperate. What is it? You're sold on socialism so you can go defend capitalism.
Yes, they sell you. They sell the military to you as socialism.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we know one of the military recruitment tools, because it's what they use now, and it's what they probably still use for Earth Force, because we know there are people who are too poor to be able to ship a body back home. We know there are people who are so poor they can get to Babylon 5 and then can't leave anymore.
Right.
So this isn't Star Trek. We haven't solved poverty. People join the military for the same reason they join the military now, which is, if I don't do this, I don't eat. I don't have any other
You get
prospects.
healthcare, you get housing, you get education.
Yeah.
As part of your military service.
Right.
And if
you survive.
If you had that provided just in general to the public.
Yeah.
Through socialized healthcare, like free state university tuition and like universal basic income for housing and stuff, you wouldn't get any military recruitment.
And 10 years ago, there was a draft. There was a worldwide draft.
Fair.
So we don't know how many of these people were drafted. And speaking personally, when my dad was drafted, he then went and enlisted because then he could control where he went.
Right. Yeah.
But if he waited,
got some say in where he went.
But if he waited and just went with took his draft letter in on time, then he didn't have any control over where he went.
Right.
So it's possible these people had no say. They literally got drafted into being infantry.
Mm-hmm.
And now they are trapped together, knowing that, well, actually, they think they're going to IO. So they think this is like a easy cake. What do they call it? Coffee and cake or?
Yeah, coffee cake run.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a lot. But they're like, we're going to, post some of the more colorful spots off limits so we can try to limit incidents. And Garibaldi's like, already done. I did it. No problem. Not that I think it's going to do much good if you ask me, I think someone in Earth Dome has gone completely mental.
I don't want any incidents.
No, it's already done. Not that I think it's going to do us very much good. You know, if you ask me, I think someone in Earth Dome has gone completely mental.
That's an interesting opinion. At ease.
Sir, this is Commander Ivanova, my second. Mr. Garibaldi, Chief of Security.
I had an Alfredo Garibaldi under my command during the Dilgar invasion. Excellent soldier.
That was my dad.
So much for genetics.
Which I feel is probably the only line from this entire movie, or this entire episode, that really speaks to the larger issues going on in Babylon 5 right now. Because we don't really get any big picture stuff. We don't get any... We get like slight mentions of the Centauri-Narn war.
Yeah.
But we don't really get like not like in Coming of Shadows. So he's basically just like, the fuck is happening? This is crazy town. And this is when Dr. Franklin's dad comes in, which I only ever put him as Dr. Franklin's dad. And he's like, oh, that's an interesting opinion. I mean, I don't feel like it's an opinion. I feel like it's a fact at this point because you literally dumped these people on Babylon 5. And this is when Sheridan does his introductions. And Dr. Franklin's dad, Richard Franklin, is like, oh, I had an Alfredo Garibaldi under my command during the Dilgar invasion. Garibaldi's dad's name was Alfredo. And I don't know, but I think you're contractually obligated to be the kind of guy that makes bagna cauda for your son if your name is Alfredo.
Yeah. Yep.
That we get the name Alfredo, Pasta Alfredo, from a guy named Alfredo. That was he had a restaurant, and his big thing was he would make it in front of people. He would bring out like the noodles and he would mix.
Yeah.
He'd do all the preparation at the table.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they call it Alfredo. So Alfredo, the name predates Alfredo the pasta, but it's just really funny that his name is Alfredo Garibaldi. And he's like, oh, yeah, he was an excellent soldier. And Garibaldi's like, oh, my God, yeah, that was my dad.
Yeah, so much for genetics.
You fucking asshole. Are you serious right now? He's like, oh, so much for genetics. You don't know anything about Garibaldi. He knows.
Maybe he does.
Oh, maybe. Great. Good for you for judging this guy by his reputation right off the bat.
Yeah, by his paperwork.
I was like, I just wrote asshole next to that line. Come on, you can't do that to Garibaldi. Look at his recent record. He's fine. Yeah, actually, just he's like, well, actually, if you'll take a seat.
He sees the count of how many guns have been stuck onto the station. Oh, and this is your security guy.
How many days since we found a gun on the station? It's just 0. It's just 1 X'd out over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
One day, nope. One day, nope. One day, nope. So they sit down to do this briefing. And this is the first time we meet Frank. Like Frank, if you will. And this is when we get, oh my God. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. This is the most. And then we blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, this feels like Earth Force is just following standard American military strategy, which is to have as many military outposts spread out as much as possible.
Well, this
just
one is close to like the Narn Centauri front.
Right.
So this is going to establish a presence for us possibly in the war as a way because he says, you know, the Narn Centauri thing is heating up. Eventually we're going to have to choose sides. I would argue you don't actually have to, but whatever. He's like, eventually we're going to have to decide who we're going to fight for. And so it would behoove us to have a staging point where we can keep troops and then send them off.
Right.
So that's ostensibly what they're doing here, but it's a lot. It feels like a She-Ra episode when they're like, oh no, this new person who's only showed up for this episode is over there in that abandoned field that we're never going to see again. And let's discuss our strategy for going over there and taking over the abandoned field that we're never going to see again. Because they're like, we're going to go to Actor and the Shalassan government and blah, 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 blah. And wouldn't you know it, Sheridan knows all about it. He's like, oh my God, I've been there. Sheridan, who was mad that now he's not going to get to travel the universe, who has apparently also already been everywhere already.
Just the important bits.
Yeah. Well, apparently the Shalassan embassy had asked Sheridan for aid a week ago because they're having some kind of internal conflict. And Earthdome was like, tell him no. Tell him no, we're not going to do it. So why are you guys here if you're going to give them aid when I was already told that we're not giving them aid? And he's like, oh, yeah, we're going to give them aid. But the Senate has to officially announce our involvement before we can announce that we're going to give aid.
Right.
So your orders are still that we're not giving aid to them. And I was like, oh. If anything, this is probably supposed to show us the cloak and dagger or the subterfuge level of what Earth Force is doing.
Mm-hmm.
The unnecessary secrecy that the government is currently operating with, where it's like there was no reason to keep this secret except for what? To surprise them?
In my head, the Senate or whoever in Earth Alliance is deciding whether or not or when the announcement will be made that Earth is helping out the Shalassan government.
Exactly.
They're doing, I don't know, some more research, due diligence, whatever, to make sure that this is actually something we want to do.
Yeah.
Not whether it's justifiable. I don't think that's a concern for Earth Force military. Is this necessary? Nah. Can we justify it? But are we going to do it? Sure. And so they're taking a few days, and they don't want this general saying, oh yeah, we're potentially going to help this civil war.
Yeah.
And then the Senate decides, actually, no, we're not. And then General Franklin's troops just follow along with their cover story of going to Io.
It feels like we don't want to give the public enough time.
They're maintaining plausible deniability.
It feels like we don't want to give the public enough time to have a negative opinion of this.
Or for the rebels in Matak to say, hey, the Earth is sending for support for the government to fight against us. Can somebody else come help us against the Earth forces coming in? And so they want it to be a surprise to the people in Matak.
Well, he says it's going to be a surgical strike.
Right.
On the rebel stronghold. And that's why Babylon 5 has been chosen as our staging area, because it's the closest Earth-aligned jump gate to the Shalassan sector. So when they finally make their announcement, they'll just be a hop, skip, and a jump away. They can just, they won't have time to prepare.
Right.
And this is when Sheridan's like, in all due respect, I spent time at Matak during the Karani expedition. Okay, cool. And he's like, it's not a fortress. It's a death trap. And they're like, oh my God, yes, that's the reason we came here, because we're counting on you to help plan the final assault. You came here without having the assault planned? You committed 25,000 troops to this and you haven't done any kind of pre-gaming?
Well, I think it's completely plausible that they sent 25,000 troops on transports for what could end up being just a trip to Babylon 5 and back to Io. And so what if it wasted a bunch of money? If Sheridan says later, you can call this off. Like, if we're talking about strategy and you're convinced that Earth Force, like, your troops can't actually take Matak, you can call this off. Like, General Franklin has that authority. And so, yes, they bring this many troops out. Yes, it costs a whole bunch of money, but since when has the military
this is why
been focused
I
on
struggle with these
cost
episodes.
effectiveness?
Because that's what everybody always says to me. Like, well, it just seems like the military to me, like typical military inefficiency. And I'm like, yeah, it's fine. I get it. But like, I don't like it. I still struggle with it. Even I get it. Like, I get what they're trying to say. I get what you're trying to say. But at the end of the day, it still makes me feel frustrated because I like it when things are portrayed better than they actually are.
Mm-hmm. And
that's not what this is. This, I feel, is a very accurate depiction of what it would be like to have
Oh, yeah.
25,000 effectively Space America troops.
The least realistic thing for me was the fact that there's only 3 people in the infirmary in MedLab.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. And there really seems to be only 2 chaperones effectively for these 25,000 troops. There's the general and then there's the drill sergeant guy. And that's it.
Those are just the ones we see.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it'd be a whole carousel of names.
Right. Yeah. A lot of this is abbreviated for the sake of television. So it's okay. We can just take as rote that there's probably more sub-commanders, lower level people who are in charge of small groups to keep them in line. But they're like, yeah, we're going to take the rebels at Matak completely by surprise. And Sheridan's like, yeah, with 25,000 very inconspicuous troops. No one will ever know that they're coming. How do you expect to keep this party a secret? And this is when he's like, this is, as far as anyone is concerned, we are relief troops for Io.
Io, in the same solar system as Earth. Very far away from
Right.
Babylon 5.
So I would
Unless this is just like a training exercise for the troops to have practice, like onboarding, offboarding a transport.
well, some of them have been Gropos for like
Right, but
30
not all of them.
years.
Not all of them. And so us following like military inefficiency patterns, you could say we're investing all of this money and time and whatever.
To teach
As
them how
just-
to get on and off a ship?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ah! You could have made up another planet. You've already made up one planet. Make up another planet.
Right. Don't have it be Io.
Don't have it be forget Io, okay? Strike it out of your vocabulary. The transfer point on Io is done. We're done with it. Don't talk to me about it again. First, they imply that there is a colony on Io. You can't have a colony on Io. Io is one of the most volcanically active moons in our entire solar system. There are volcanoes on Io so large they eject magma out into space.
Right.
How are you going to have... This is only 250 years in the future. This isn't enough time to tame Io in a way that could allow you to have a colony. So that's not real.
Maybe
Babylon?
it's a colony like the stations in Antarctica where there's like 30 to 50 people.
Oh, that 25,000 troops are going to go show up to? There's 30 people. There's one habitat. And they're like, you got to find billets for my people because we're not staying on the transports. And there's 25,000 of you. Where? Anyway, this is where I took some notes. Okay, so Babylon 5, in the episode where we met the lady who had been traveling in stasis with the ghost, we postulated it was about 25 light years from Earth to Babylon 5. Apparently, at some point, JMS said that Babylon 5 is 35 light years away from Earth. But there's also been characters who referred to Babylon 5 as being 18 light years away from Earth. So Babylon 5 is anywhere from 18 to 35 light years away from Earth, according to JMS and dialogue from the show itself. I went to a website called chronology.org/b5/astronomy.html, which I will link in the show notes. And I will not repeat the beautiful math that this man did, or woman, I don't know. Clearly either an amateur or a professional astronomer, but they went into a lot of detail about, okay, so the star that is visible from Babylon 5 appears to be this kind of star. The closest stars that are that type of star from Earth are the following. We know that Babylon 5 is in this system. Okay, so this system has this type of star. Whatever. It was long and involved, and I'm going to link it because they put a lot of work into that. But they determined that Babylon 5 is probably 40 light years from Earth, based on the geography that's actually described by visually in the series.
Okay.
Io is not even a light year away from Earth. It is 400 million miles away from
Right.
Earth, which means they went 40 light years past Io and told these troops that they were relief troops from Io. The only way this really makes sense is if they were coming from farther out and they stop at Babylon 5 on their way to Io, which still means they went past where they're going, ultimately, the Matak, whatever, the Shalassan system. I couldn't think of the word for that. Sector, yeah. So they went past the Shalassan sector. Either way, they went past where they're going to go to Babylon 5. Babylon 5 is like out of your way.
Yeah.
For no matter where they're going. If they were coming
for their cover story.
for their cover story, if they were coming from Earth, no one in their right mind would believe that they're going to Io. Because why would you fucking go by Io to then go back to Io?
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't make sense. If you're coming from farther out, where were they? What were 25,000 troops doing?
Training exercise. You can fit a lot of stuff under
Training
a training
exercise. I mean, do we have colonies that far out? Babylon 5 is pretty far out. He also talks on that website about how far out the rim must be.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. All I know is that the Io thing is stupid and we need to stop talking about it. So I'm just going to leave that there. And he goes,
there's Antares, or Alpha Scorpii, is 520 light years from Earth. That's an Earth colony.
oh, okay.
The website. I found it.
Yes, you did. Right. It's a lot, isn't it? If you scroll all the way down, there's a chart.
And there's Deneb, or Alpha Cygnus, 1,600 light years from Earth.
Wow.
Antares and Deneb are both mentioned. Oh, Antares is mentioned once in The Gathering, but Antarian Flarn is mentioned in Parliament of Dreams. And Deneb is only ever mentioned once in Parliament of Dreams.
Well,
The meaning of sectors in the show is unknown and inconsistent. Season 4, Earth's colony at Deneb 4 was discussed in Racing Mars.
okay. So there are so maybe they're coming from farther out and they're stopping at Babylon 5 because they just went on a long haul.
If
So they're getting a
if we
break.
discard the pilot, no colonies farther than 36 light years were mentioned until season 4. There have also been several Orion colonies mentioned. For a complete list of human-settled planets mentioned in Babylon 5, see the companion document, Planets of the Earth Alliance.
I love old fan communities.
Mhm.
I have so much respect and love for these
This is
people
right up my alley.
that built these. That is a website. That guy built that website and has hosted it since, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, 2008. That's the last time he updated that website. And it has lived on in perpetuity for the last 17 years for people to find and reference for Babylon 5. I just talked with somebody, a group of somebodies, about the dead internet theory.
Mm-hmm.
Because I used to think dead internet theory, that's dumb. But more and more, I have concluded that it is in fact true. And that the vast majority of things that you find on the internet now are bot or AI produced, which means that the internet is nothing but ghosts.
And I told you my theory was fermenting internet theory,
Yeah.
where there's still some living things in there, the microbes digesting the little bits of nutrients that they can, and humans are the microbes in the fermenting internet.
Yeah. Which means they're all botulism. Like, only the bacteria is left.
Maybe we're yeast,
Okay.
and we're making bread out of the internet.
Well, the point is,
Bread internet theory. We're a fermenting, we're a rising pile of bread dough.
which means the only thing we're producing is gas. So that makes sense. The point here being, I love finding these old websites because I know they were made by a person.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I stumbled across, I was trying to find, so there's Forever Night is finally streaming again. It's streaming on Tubi for anybody who wants to watch the first 2 seasons. This 3rd season's never streaming. That's a whole other discussion. But the first 2 seasons are streaming. And so there is an actress that I would love to find who played in Babylon 5, or no, I'm sorry, who played in Forever Night, whose name is Deb Duchesne.
Mm-hmm.
So I was looking around for her again, because every once in a while, like, did she pop up? Because Catherine, who played Divya, has just started touring. Like, she's just started doing conventions.
Okay.
So people are getting pictures with her. I want somebody to play my Divya voice for her. Hello, father. Anyway. And I was like, well, if she's come out of wherever she's been hiding, maybe Deb has. So I was poking around. Anyway, I found this Forever Night, her Forever Night fan group had a website, and it looks so GeoCities. I was dying. I was so happy. It was like that ChillerCon that we went to, and the ChillerCon website is circa 1994.
Yeah.
And it was a thing of beauty. I was so entranced by this website because it looked like a person made it. And a person who wasn't trying to optimize it for visuals. They were just like, here's my website, guys.
Right, not an experienced web designer.
It was
but
so much fun.
just
and
a person figuring out enough to make it work.
I miss that. You know, when I go on the internet anymore, I'm going to like 2 places. I'm checking my email. I go to Instagram to see if anybody's interacted with our page, which is haha funny because I never actually post anything on our page.
Not
I do.
anymore.
There's a couple things I need to update, and I'm going to start putting new episode announcements up more frequently. But the point being, you just don't go out on the internet to find people anymore. You go to these hubs.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you do have to venture out into the internet, it's like no man's land. And it's all just slop. There's nothing. It's like a flood of just search engine optimization bullshit. I miss web rings. Here's my fan website that I curate where I got my pictures and I've got my text and I've got my downloadable songs and all kinds of stuff. I miss it.
Yeah.
I miss that genuine interaction that you could have with fans. And there was a spirit of like, we're all in this together. We all love this same property. And of course, you still get the same pedantic people that you get now. But I feel like that was a far smaller percentage of your interactions.
Mm-hmm.
Like we posted for Gare Can Get It, we do a lot of obscure properties. And we do run into fans who are still fans of these obscure properties, which is great. I love that for you. But like we just did one on the Edison twins. And one of the comments is like, hey, you guys, you've totally failed to understand the charm of the Edison twins and blah, blah, blah. Which on the one hand I get because remember Continuum Drag, that one podcast?
Yeah.
That talked about Forever Night, and like they didn't pronounce Lacroix's name right, and they made up an entire episode, and they just clearly didn't authentically engage with it before trying to pass judgment on it. And that did make me feel frustrated, but I just moved on because like, okay, not everybody's going to like a thing the way I like the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of understand where they're coming from, but also like that's not the point of our podcast. And it really feels like they made a judgment on us without listening to the rest of our podcast.
Yeah, fair.
And I don't know. It's just I don't know. I miss when the internet was nice, I guess. Maybe I need to join the JMS Patreon page where he's trying to make the internet fun again. Remember, JMS has his own Patreon.
Oh, he does still?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he still does. Anyway, back to the dumb story, bro, which is I wrote next to, as far as anyone's concerned, we're relief troops for IO. Relief for what? Is IO
to
in
rotate
combat?
troops out. Not relief troops for combat, relief troops for the military base.
Is it possible I found an episode I like less than Soul Hunter? Maybe. It doesn't annoy me as much, but it's just like, ugh, what the fuck is this? He's like, even my soldiers don't know any difference. And I wrote, why? Did they not teach geography? Do they not know where anything is? He goes, by the time the truth comes out, we'll already be
Would
in
this be
striking
cosmology
position. I don't-
instead of geography?
Astronomy? I don't know.
Cosmography.
That's fine. He's like, we need a few days, long enough for us to get our gifts in place. And he's like,
They're
gifts,
also-
and he's like, yeah, new weapon systems.
So here's, I guess, another justification for why the fuck did you go all the way out to Babylon 5 on, like, just a standard transport, like, for relief troops to IO?
Yeah, the new defense grid.
we had equipment for Babylon 5.
Yeah, the very latest in Earth Force R&D. So they're going to outfit Babylon 5 with enough firepower to take on a warship.
When they're online, Babylon 5 will have enough firepower to take on a warship.
Are you sure this is wise? Babylon 5 is supposed to be devoted to peace. If we begin arming heavily...
The galaxy's changing, Captain, and Babylon 5 must change with it. With the Narn and the Centauri at war, the other alien worlds are bound to become more aggressive, and Earth must keep pace.
And Sheridan's like, really? Is that
But we're
wise?
supposed to be here for peace.
He goes, are you sure this is wise? And I wrote, is that even a concern? Like, he goes, Babylon 5 is supposed to be devoted to peace if we begin arming it heavily. And this is the part where I started being like, ugh, because Dr. Franklin's dad,
General Franklin.
General Franklin is like, the galaxy is changing, Captain, and Babylon 5 must change with it. Is it changing because it's changing, or is it changing because you are preparing for a change that hasn't happened and therefore instigating a change?
Yeah.
Is it actually war-torn, or you just want it to be war-torn so you can put troops there?
Well, there's literally new war.
Right, but you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's like, when the Narn and the Centauri are at war, the other alien worlds are bound to become more aggressive, and Earth must keep pace. So it's just assuming already that everyone is going to react to the conflict the way Earth is reacting to the conflict.
Right.
Which is by remilitarizing everything and building up defenses. He goes, if all doesn't go well at Matak, my people may need a fallback position, which means 25,000 of us may come back here and bring the war with us. As a fallback
Or
position.
flood the infirmary.
Yeah. All 3 beds. He goes, my techs will begin installing the new grid soon. So he didn't have a choice. We're putting the new grid here because if we come back here, we need you to be able to defend us while we lick our wounds. And he's like, Commander Ivanova will handle your end. So he also commandeers Commander Ivanova to handle the installation.
I mean, it's literally her job. So and I ran some numbers of my own.
Oh, okay.
About the housing.
Okay.
Okay. So Ivanova says they
quadruple booked.
They triple and quadruple booked, and they still are short 400.
Mm-hmm.
So one billet, I'm assuming. Let me look up what the definition of billet is.
Okay.
Because that will change the math.
While you're looking that up, I want to point out that we have completely forgotten that the planet below is an armed supercomputer.
Oh, yeah.
A heavily armed supercomputer. And we're friends with the guy who runs it now.
Delenn is friends with the guy who runs it.
Yeah. I just want to point that out.
Okay, so a billet is a living quarters. Okay, so billet is the room.
All right.
That means, so 400 billets means 1,600 soldiers. Subtracting that from 25,000 soldiers, we get 23,400. And so if 23,400 soldiers are booked, quadruple booked, actually this is going to be
23,400 plus 400 is 23,800.
1,600. 400 billets would house 1,600 soldiers.
Oh, okay.
They're short 400 billets.
Okay. No, are they short 400 billets or 400 people?
400 billets. We've tripled and quadrupled up, and we're still 400 billets short.
Okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
So that means they've already housed 23,400.
Okay, yes, yeah.
Hold on, I need to change the math. Because to be, for example, Kefir's quarters are triple booked because there's Kefir, Large, and Yang.
Yeah.
But that's only housing 2 in one billet. So I had divided by 4 when I should have divided by 3. Okay. So assuming best case scenario that you're sticking 3 of General Franklin's soldiers into rooms that have 1 Babylon 5
Soldier-ish.
Staff.
Yeah.
That's 7,800 rooms.
Yes.
So that means there's like 8,000 Earth Force rooms that they can stick General Franklin's people in.
Yeah. Unless you're also
So-
talking guest quarters.
Yeah, they could be using. Why aren't the transports fit in the cargo bays?
Yes.
Why are they not just housing them in the cargo bays on cots or whatever? That makes a lot more sense. Anyway,
I'm just going to blink at you.
but 8,000, I think, gives us a rough number of Earth Force staff.
Yeah. That could be dock workers. That could be
No,
maintenance
'cause
personnel.
the dock workers are not employed directly by Earth Force. They are not Earth Force people.
Yeah, but they may have the ability to commandeer their quarters because
That's
they're
possible.
staff. Because everyone who works for Babylon 5 may in some way be Earth Force personnel, even if they're not military personnel.
If you're a contractor, you have a lot more independence from military staff.
Until 25,000 people show up. Surprise. The math,
Maybe
the math
they
doesn't
have,
math.
Maybe they have filled up the cargo rooms with cots.
Maybe. The math doesn't math. Let's just put
Yeah.
it that way. It just doesn't. I get what they're trying to be really extreme. I get it. But at the same time, you're like, at what point does extreme become unbelievable?
Mm-hmm.
I think this is it. I think we found it. I think we found where it becomes unbelievable.
Housing 25,000 people within one day is not
Is
plausible.
crazy town. Correct. Yeah. And they're literally showing up and they're like, cool, we're docking right now. We have ultraviolet docking priority, which means they bump everyone and they dock immediately.
Right.
If you're going on a cruise ship and there's 4,000 people on the cruise ship, they know months in advance. And it still takes you the better part of the first day for you to be able to go in your room.
Yeah.
And that's a place specifically designed to take in influxes of people.
Right.
So it's fine. This is not a well-written episode. I think that's probably what
Right.
we're coming down
so-
to here. Sorry, Larry.
I saw a reel the other day, and it was someone saying, "Guys, I have some writing advice for you." It's like, if you're writing a story that is sci-fi, fantasy, steampunk, whatever, magic system, whatever, you do not use any numbers unless it is absolutely necessary.
Right.
Because once you start throwing numbers in, you start breaking suspension of disbelief for some of your audience.
Right. It's like, think about Death Becomes Her. For example, there's the part where the Isabella Rossellini character is giving a number to somebody about how much the medicine's going to cost. So she writes it down on a piece of paper and shows it to her, and we don't see what it says.
Right.
That can never age poorly
Right.
because it can be any number that I want it to be. Any number that is expensive, it can be. If they had given it to me in 1990, whatever dollars, whatever Death Becomes Her is, I forget what year it came out, it would be ridiculous now. You'd be like, really?
Right.
Really?
I think a better option for this episode in particular would be for Ivanova to say, like, how many people? Or I guess Sheridan, because he was there. And then Frank, the general's assistant, hands over a data pad, and Sheridan looks at it and goes,
Are you kidding me?
That's 5 times our Earth Force staff on the station right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, you could have, there's so many ways you could have fudged this. 3 transports? Are you kidding me? Don't tell me how many are on a transport. I don't want to know. Let me figure that out. Okay? I think that's a very good advice, is you leave it up.
Yeah.
To the imagination of almost always your imagination is better than getting a figure.
For a long time, they never said how many light years away anything was.
Yeah.
They said number of jumps.
Right.
And that's a number that you can fudge way better than light years.
Yep.
Yeah.
Except I think, according to that guy, the website, they're trying to use actual locations in space. And so then there are actually distance stamps, but then nobody's tracking it because you had so many different writers. And ultimately, this is why JMS takes over writing.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the only one writing because he said he was spending so much time having to go back and fact check and...
Right. That's why, like, Star Trek, starting at Star Trek The Next Generation, they had either one or a team of, like, science consultants.
Yeah.
And they would just throw placeholder things into the script and then say, okay, science consultant writing team.
Add that in.
Fill in the details
Yeah.
so that it sounds good and can stand up to, like, some basic scrutiny.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, sometimes it doesn't stand up to scrutiny, but it has the right vibe,
Right.
at least.
Yeah.
And I think JMS didn't.
It's just him.
The
It was a
convention
very
didn't
small
exist at the
team.
time.
And it was a very small team. It's literally, they would write it, they'd hand it to JMS. He had a little bit of time to look it over, massage it a little, and then it was off to production.
Right. He would have benefited from having, like, oh, here's my best friend from college or whatever that got an engineering degree. Hey, buddy, I'll pay you, $500 a script, and you just proofread it for tech bullshit,
Or like
science bullshit.
about the Brandon Sanderson canon checkers.
Yeah, so Brandon Sanderson, in the vein of, like, Star Trek realized we need a team of people to, like, keep track of all the technical details.
Yeah.
Brandon Sanderson has a team that maintains the whole Cosmere Bible, I think they call it.
Right. And I think that for the most part, they do fine. And eventually when JMS
Right.
is going to
Especially
take it over.
when JMS has his hands in it more.
Right.
Yeah.
When he takes
it
over
gets a lot more coherent.
and he's the only writer, it gets a lot more coherent. But in this is a guest writer. It's Larry DiTillio. He's written like 8 other episodes in total of all of the episodes that have come so far. He's just doing his best, right? He was just like, hey, can you write me an episode? Yeah, sure. Can you add the military in it? Yeah, sure. And I know we just had our dissertation about the importance of filler, but filler has to be fun. This isn't fun. I didn't have fun in this episode. The most important part of this entire interaction, this long, involved interaction that has taken us more time to get through than literally any other part of the episode, is just when Sheridan finally has a moment to talk to his people alone. And they're like, what the fuck is happening? What is Earth Central up to? And he says, something I'd hoped we never hear again. The rattling of sabers. And that's it. Just that Earth Force wants a war. They're preparing for a war.
Yeah. People in Earth Alliance government and Earth Force want a war.
Yeah.
War is a good distraction from things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then somebody must have come to JMS and been like, hey, what happened to Warren?
Well, I think this is the first time that there's really like a plausible reason to include him.
Well, there wasn't a plausible reason for the first 4 or 5 episodes. We just crowbarred him in at
Right.
any
he
opportunity.
crowbarred him in for the first few episodes to satisfy the I don't know, executive production team.
Yeah.
The stakeholders in the show wanted
And then he'd fucking
a Top Gun kind of
disappear.
guy. And then once they were like, oh, okay, good. You actually put the guy in.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, you're never going to see him again.
Bye, Warren. We haven't seen him since he saw that shadow vessel.
Yeah. Which was
That's-
episode 3.
Whatever one where his buddy showed up and Sheridan pissed all over himself
Yeah.
for an entire episode. I think it's really funny that all of a sudden I was like, oh, look, Warren. Because I made a note during the intro, like, wow, we
Right,
haven't
he's in
seen
the
Warren in
credits,
a
yeah.
while. What happened to Robert Russler or whatever his name is? And then poof, here he is. But he comes home and there's 2 dudes.
Just
his-
chilling in his apartment.
And it's not that they're just, this is my idea of hell. Okay. This would be actual hell. Because not only are they chilling in his apartment,
They're
they are
playing with his stuff.
They're smoking and touching his shit.
Yeah.
Smoking and touching his shit. I'd be like, excuse you, no, first of all. Second of all, no. Third of all, get the fuck out of my room, which is what he says. He's like, why are you guys here? You're not allowed to be here. This is my room. And they're like, oh, no, we were told we could stay here. We were assigned to these quarters. And he's like, I'm sorry, assigned? This is my room. And then the guy stands up. This is the best part. Because he's like, oh, no, come on, and just come hang out with us. And he won't let it go.
You got a problem? Yeah, I got a problem. Just give me a minute to find a ladder and we'll hash it out face to face.
You got some kind of problem there, boy.
Yeah, I got a problem. Just give me a minute to find a ladder and we'll hash it out face to face.
He's all right. You're all right, baby. Come on, sit down.
Because this guy is quite large. His name is large, and he is, in fact, quite large. And he has a Gropos tattoo. I love it. In the 90s, when they were like, can we give them a tattoo? I feel like, believably, one of them would have a tattoo. And so he has a skull and crossbones, and then the word Gropos written underneath of it on his bicep. And it looks like it was drawn in with black eyeliner pencil. It's like Gropos.
It would have looked better on a CRT screen.
Everything looks better on a CRT screen. He's like, you got some kind of problem? Airboy. They call him Airboy for the whole rest of it.
Yeah, there's a lot of
really, he should have been
disdain for the Air Force.
Boy, because he's not really.
But he's flying.
It's fine. As soon as he says the ladder comment, the guy's like, oh my God, you're so cool. All right, come on. Here, sit down, have a cigar, and then launches back into another story.
Right, because the Air Force is considered like dilettantes in the military.
All right.
And so, okay, here's a like an air boy who actually has a backbone.
Yeah.
Which is remarkable for them.
You want to know my full experience of the military, like where I get almost all of my military expertise from, and that's World War Z. So that's the only thing I've got going for me.
That's your reference point.
You'd think, because my dad was in the military.
To be fair, World War Z is considered.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like,
accurate.
oh yeah, I know these kind of things. So I've read about this. It's fine. But my dad was only in for 2 years.
And Max Brooks like works for the Department of Defense now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
And he wrote the one about Sasquatch, which is also good. Devolution. Yeah. But I mean, my dad was in for 2 years and then he came home and he never talked about it. So I don't know. That's my, I have USAA. Yay. And everyone's like, oh, how'd you get this? And I'm like, my dad. And then they don't want to talk about it anymore. And I'm like, it's fine. I get it. But like, yeah, that's my only, and I don't know. He liked to watch all the military stuff, you know, Saving Private Ryan and all the TV shows that
Band
for a
of Brothers.
while, Band of Brothers. And I just never have, I like Sergeant York. That's one of my favorite movies. But again, I'm just not, I can't hold it. It doesn't, I'd have to see a picture, like a flow chart. And even then, I don't know that I could hold it. It's just one of those things that I just can't keep in my head. And that's fine. Not everybody has to be able to do this. We go on from there to Dr. Franklin and his dad.
The Franklins.
The Franklins. What a moment this is. Because he's like, how are mom and the girls? Well, Juanita's due for a promotion. That must be his mom. And Kathy's working on her 3rd doctorate. He's like, oh, good for them. How's Maria and Cecilia? He goes on about he just goes on for a while. And he gets him some juice, which is pretty funny. And he's like, oh, I only like orange juice. He's like, just try it, please.
You'll like it.
You'll like it. And then he says, you know, I'm surprised that you're back. I thought you were just going to fade away. And he's like, you know, it's not really the saddle. It's more of a coffee and cake run. And he's like, okay, because dodging massive explosions is inimical to the health at your age.
Mm-hmm.
What is inimical? This feels like buttonage, a word I don't know.
It's
not compatible with, I assume.
Not compatible with life. It's same vibe.
Yeah. He's like, see, Dad, I could have had a 3rd doctorate. I used inimical in a sentence.
Tending to obstruct or harm. Unfriendly, hostile.
Okay. He's like, Mom won't have to worry. He goes, your mom worries if I eat a hamburger. And he's like, they start to joke, which is pretty funny. But then he's like, okay, so how are you, Stephen? Like, we haven't gotten a real good feel of why, as soon as he came on and Sheridan was like, oh, I'll tell your son you're here. He was like, no, don't do that. I'll do that. until we get to this part, because he's like, oh, I've been busy. I've been real busy. Babylon 5 is always bringing me something new. This was a really hard time for me. I was like, yeah, I have all kinds of specimens in my freezer. You want to see it? He goes, I suppose that's good. And he goes, no, it's more than good. This station is a xenobiologist's dream. There's over 20 different species of aliens living on Babylon 5 and more passing through each day. And this is when his dad's like, you know, I could get you out of here. I could get you posted somewhere more prestigious, especially with the Narn and Centauri War.
Now we get to the core of the conflict between
Right, exactly. This
Stephen
is probably
and his
the
dad.
only interesting part of this entire episode.
The Franklin plot.
The Franklin plot. Because he's like, you know, they need people with your knowledge and experience, because we know that during the Minbari War, he learned a lot about Minbari anatomy and then refused to share it.
Yeah.
And so he's like, you have a second shot here. You could help us.
Right. I could hook you up. Like, I'm trying to be a good dad. I want to assist, like, with opportunities for you. And also, I respect your skill, and I know they would benefit from having you on their team. So, like, win-win.
Yeah.
Both of my allegiances get an improvement if you join, like, one of these military, like, biological research weapon groups.
Yeah.
Stephen does, it's like, no, I'm not going to think up clever ways to kill aliens.
Right. He's like, Dad, that's not me. That's your mental model of me. That's not actually me.
Right. That's a very shallow representation of who I am as a person.
Right. He's like, I'm needed here. And I did do that research during the last war, and I didn't like it. And his dad's like has nothing to do with it. This isn't about whether you like it or not. You have a duty. You're in Earth Force now. You have a duty to Earth Force. And he's like, what duty? Coming up with new and better ways to kill people? I'm a doctor. My duty is to heal people. And he's like, okay, then heal humans. And I was like, oh my God, it's coming. he goes, Stephen, I know you're fascinated by these alien creatures, but they're a threat to humanity, and they always will be. Help your own kind.
Bruh.
You know, we shouldn't be giving health insurance to those illegal aliens. Actual aliens. I'm talking about actual aliens.
Oh, right. This isn't metaphor at all.
It's not it's not relevant to my daily life at any point. And then he's like, Dad, oh my God. Because life is life, whether it's wrapped in skin, scales, or feathers. And I wrote, hello, redemption. Oh, there you are. Okay.
Okay, so good to hear from you, Stephen.
This is a good turning point for Stephen's character. If there's any bright side to this shitstorm of an episode, it is that we get this side of Stephen where he's like, if you respected them instead of trying to murder them, you'd appreciate that. If you took any fucking time to learn that these people are just people, that life is life,
Right.
no matter what it looks like.
They may not be humans, but they're people.
You wouldn't be out there trying to murder them, which I think is the real word that his dad objects to.
Yeah.
Because it's the thing that he comes back to later. He's like, I'm not a murderer. Okay, that's
Yeah.
fine. He goes, you know what? Actually, I've got to get back to my duties. So I got to go. And his dad's like, yeah, well, I mean, it was good to see you. I'll give your love to your mother and sisters. And then he just leaves. And
Yeah.
Dr. Franklin goes, damn it. Like, got my mouth wearing away on me again.
He got me again.
This is when we come back to Dr. Franklin, who's now at work.
Yeah.
And Ivanova walks in with a huge troop of people, and she's like, okay, these people are sleeping in the infirmary. This is where they could just be in bunks in the cargo bay.
Yeah.
Because what? You're going to use the medical infirmary knowing there's 25,000 volatile troops in Babylon 5. You're going to tie up infirmary beds?
Yeah.
Okay. Unless they're taking them back to the transport when they get hurt. Unless the transports have their own infirmaries.
Yeah, they may be handling their own wounded.
All they got to do is stop the leak in that one room, and they could definitely put like 25, 30 people in there. The water drip room.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, oh my God, absolutely not. This is a medical facility, not barracks. This has to feel like, really, Dad? Really? Now you're taking over my house too? Came and inspected my room.
Get out of my room, Dad.
God damn it. He goes, take your people through. Then Ivanova turns around.
It's something
She's like,
I've never said.
get out of my room.
Dad.
Dad. I know. I always think about you when they have the complicated dad relationship episodes. You know how you don't have a complicated relationship with your dad? You just don't have a dad.
Which, my dad's career military.
Yeah.
He was in the Army when I was under 12. And I remember he was out in the Philippines or whatever.
Yeah.
And this, like, the Army sent us, like, kid package. And there was, like, coloring books of, like, tanks and stuff.
So your dad might die. Here, have a coloring book. That's awful.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then he re-enlisted in the Marines. Or maybe it was Marines and then, yeah, he was in the Marines first. And then the Marines sent us coloring books. And then he went Army after he finished. But
yeah,
I'd never heard about it. He wasn't there. So.
Yeah. It's not like, probably the Marines sending you something was the most interaction you had with your dad. Anyway, he's like, yeah, they can't stay here. It's got to feel like his dad's sticking his foot into now the life that he's built for himself.
Right. And if it was some other general, at least it wouldn't feel like a personal attack.
But
that soldiers are getting barracked in his medical facility.
It does, yeah.
But it feels personal because it's his dad.
Dr. Franklin's like, Earth Force has no right to come in here. You can't do that. I have sick people on those beds. And Ivanova's like, you have 3 people. You have 3 people on those beds. And none of them are too ill to be moved. And he's like, is that your medical opinion? And she's like, no, it's yours.
It's yours.
Exactly as stated in the medical log. And I want him to go, oh, no, that's, I just put whatever in there. Just check the box. Didn't you see that they're also going to die? I clicked it down at the bottom. We're all going to die eventually. She's like, what is the matter with you, Stephen? Why is this a big deal? I can see why it would be a big deal no matter what.
Right.
But then he's like, oh, it's my dad. Like, as soon as she asks, he's like,
oh my gosh.
Just because you asked, I'm going to tell you.
His record is impressive as a soldier, but as a father,
he's fucking terrible. And she's like, oh, bad dads? Yeah, no, I've got this. Okay.
No matter how I try, I always seem to want to hurt him.
I know, that's a really hard moment. And she's like, I get it. My father brought out the same feelings in me, and there was a lot that I wanted to say to him. And then her comm beeps, and she's like, okay, I gotta go, but I'll be free by 1800.
Yeah, let's go have a drink.
Do you want to meet me somewhere? And he's like, yeah, I do. Actually, I do. And that was a cute moment.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, we both have had complicated dad relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to come talk to you about it.
Yeah.
Like, let's take a moment. Garibaldi loved his dad, Alfredo. And apparently Sheridan also loved his dad. So, like, they're not going to be able to help you, but I can. And then she goes, but we really do need that infirmary space also, actually. And he's like, I'll do what I can. And then we go immediately
at the bar
to them talking at the bar.
The eclipse.
Yeah. And he's like, over the years, I never stopped trying to talk to my father, but it's always the force first and everything else a distant second.
Mm-hmm.
And we weren't treated like family. We were treated like soldiers. And this line was a moment.
Yeah.
Because he used to say, you should be intelligent enough to let someone else tell you what to do.
Oof.
I was like, okay, wait a minute. Wait, what? I get it, but also, why does that feel like it explains so much?
Right.
About boomer mindset, I guess. The if you were smart, you'd just do what you're told.
Right.
Because you'd understand that it's not worth thinking your way through it. Let other people do the thinking. And I felt like, wow, learn to just follow orders is a really interesting thing to teach your children.
Right?
Especially if you want them to be leaders.
Right. Leaders need to learn to make their own decisions.
Right.
And yes, at some point, as a leader, you're going to have people above you. You need to understand the dynamics well enough to know when you just like acknowledge I'm probably missing information, maybe on purpose. Maybe they're withholding information on purpose. And so this order that seems really stupid may actually be part of a plan that I'm not allowed to know all the details of.
Yeah.
But that's not family life.
Well, he couldn't separate family and force. I think that's the real crux of the issue.
Yeah.
Because Ivanova's like, well, he sounds like a bit of a tyrant. Perfect material for a general. And he's like, yeah, if you did something wrong or you questioned his orders, you were afraid he'd kick you out of the platoon and never let you back in. Of course, that's when he was there. He's like, sometimes he just was gone, and then there was the waiting to find out if he was alive or dead. And after a while, I couldn't bear the pain, so I just left. And that's when we know that he hitchhiked around the galaxy for a while.
Yeah. Lost myself out in the stars.
And he says he wasn't happy about it, and he didn't talk to me for years. And then he joined Earth Force during the war. And that's when his dad finally started talking to him again for a while. And she's like, and now? And he's like, I don't know. We don't really talk. When we do, we just hurt each other. And Ivanova's like, real talk? You need to talk to him.
Yeah.
You need to tell him how you feel, no matter how hard it is, because I didn't, and I lost my chance, and I don't want to see you make the same mistake.
Right.
And, yeah. And Dr. Franklin's like, I mean, yeah, but like, wait a minute. What?
They're just going to IO. Like, why are you implying a risk that I'm not going to get the chance to have a real talk with my dad? They're just going to IO.
He's just going to IO. And why are you like this? And she's
I have to go back on duty.
So I gotta go.
Franklin is included in the command staff of the station.
Yes.
Why is he not informed of the mission? Maybe because of his personal relationship?
He was important enough to personally greet the Centauri Emperor, but he is not important enough to be included in the briefing.
Maybe his dad deliberately excluded him?
You are bringing 25,000 infantry troops onto Babylon 5. The likelihood of them injuring each other is really high.
Right.
You should bring in the chief of medical on the briefing, at least to be like, listen, you might have people coming in. Like they're in a confusing voluntary situation. Dodger, later we meet the one Gropos named Dodger. She knows full well that they're not going to IO. She doesn't know where they're going, but she knows it's a lie.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she can smell the...
So in all likelihood, she's not the only one who realizes they're on some sort of mission that they're not being told about.
Right.
And since they are in a
And if they're not being told about it, it's dangerous.
It's dangerous. And they're very likely to die, and the confusion is going to make them even more volatile.
Right.
So you wouldn't include Dr. Franklin in on the briefing. What if they have to fall back and they need medical attention?
Well, that would be after the public announcement by Earth Alliance government that these forces are going to...
Well, they're not. They're waiting to make
planet.
that announcement until they're like ready to land. They're not making the announcement that they're going to be doing Operation Sudden Death until they're like right there.
Right.
So that doesn't give him time to order extra supplies to prepare in any way.
Yeah.
Right? To make sure that to set up a triage unit just in case they need to come back to take over a cargo bay and stock it for a high number of casualties or for injured people.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, you're right. He should have been included.
Yep.
If you're going to include him when you meet the Centauri Emperor, you got to include him for this too. But he's not, apparently. And this is when we come to Garibaldi talking to Delenn. And I really feel like there's a lot that's about to happen that I have really strong feelings about, and I'm just going to apologize in advance for whatever comes out of my mouth. But he knows Garibaldi is not a stupid man. He knows that this is a Minbari who is now in a room full of a bunch of troops who probably fought in the Earth Minbari War and probably lost people in the Earth Minbari War and have very little to actually lose. Mm-hmm. Because if they hurt a Minbari and they get stuck in the brig, they don't go and die on the planet surface with everybody else.
Yeah.
And not only that, but it is a Minbari who is now half human. So it is even a Minbari who is not a standard Minbari. And he's like, so anyway, have a great day. Please enjoy walking through this giant crowd of troops who all hate you alone. Because they're talking and she's like, wow, why are they all here? And he's like, oh, they're on their way to Io. So like they're here this morning and like they're going to be gone soon or whatever. And Delenn's like, I mean, great, because I was really worried Babylon 5 was going to be an armed camp. Because the way things are going lately, we really need someplace that's devoted to peace. And he's like, I guess there's really no progress on the peace talks. And she's like, yeah, Londo and Jakar aren't even talking to each other. It's like they want this.
Mm-hmm.
And Garibaldi's like,
slaves to our histories.
Oh, I know. I really like that.
That was a good line.
Because Garibaldi's like, there's a few hundred years of bad blood there. And she's like, I know, we're all slaves to our histories. And if there's to be a bright future, we must learn to break those chains. And then they say the only thing to count on is the Narn and Centauri killing each other. And all I could think was Kosh's line when he's like, they are a dying people. We should let them pass. And Sinclair says, who, the Narn or the Centauri? And he just goes, yes. And Delenn says, I fear you're right, but we got to keep trying. And Garibaldi's like, I mean, for what it's worth, I really hope you succeed. And then he's like, actually, I got to go. The natives are restless. I need to go do my security job. And she's like, okay, you have a great day. And this is when she's just trying to make it to the tube and a soldier stops her.
Baldy.
Oh my God. I was like, oh good. She's finally getting the true experience of what it's like to be a human woman.
Being cornered by a group of military men.
Yes. A group of men. Yeah. She's trying to walk alone through a group of men and she can't even fucking make it to the other side of the group of men.
Yeah.
You wanted to know what it's like to be a human woman? Welcome. Because they're like, what are you? And she's like, I'm a Minbari. Can you let me pass? And he's like, Minbari, they don't have hair. This is human hair. And she's like, listen, I don't have anything to do with you. And he's like, you killed my people on the line, Boney. And now
Little
you
does
parade
he know.
She's like, oh, I was on the line too, actually.
I was actually leading that whole thing.
I was there. I was in charge.
What a
what
coincidence.
Because now you parade around trying to look human. What you need is a good lesson. And then this is when we meet Dodger, which luckily another human woman steps in. Girls supporting girls.
Yeah.
She pops in and she's like, you need to fucking quit. And he goes, that freak is an insult and I intend to do something about it. And then they fight each other for a while. And this is when the guy shows up and he's like, what the stroking H is going on here?
Yeah, so Dodger intervenes.
Delenn
runs off after Garibaldi.
Right. The real crux of the issue here is Garibaldi lets them off. Garibaldi's like, you know what? Just let it go. It's fine. Just let it go. The chief has asked me to overlook this little ruckus, and this is his jurisdiction, so I've agreed. So they just let them get away with this. I mean, what was Delenn wearing?
In my head, the reason Garibaldi says to let them off is not because he thinks the behavior was worth dismissing, but the scandal and the amount of paperwork for him and Sheridan, if an investigation found out that this was against Ambassador Delenn.
Yeah.
And this was to avoid Delenn being tied up in
whatever
investigation stuff and these soldiers being tied up and like stuck on the station. So Garibaldi says, just let him go and they'll be gone soon.
Yeah, except that if he had, Dodger would not have died.
Right, because they would have been in the brig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's fine. I mean, Delenn shouldn't have been walking around with her hair all nice like that if she didn't want to get into trouble. God. Anyway, what happens here is really the whole point of this. The only funny moment of this whole interaction is when Dodger talks to Garibaldi. Because she's like, hey, why did you just let us go? And he's like, oh, Ambassador Delenn told me what happened. And she's like, hang on, that lady was an ambassador. And he's like, yeah. And she's like, oh my God, he really almost fucked it up big time. And then he gets called away, so he's getting ready to leave. And she's like, hey, I'll see you around. Then she just goes, nice butt.
Hey, I'll see you around, Michael Garibaldi. Nice butt.
And I wrote, he could show you his favorite thing in the universe. His first favorite thing. And this is when we come back to Sheridan
and Frankie Sr.
Yeah, Daddy Franklin. And they're talking about how to assault this, and it's very...
Yeah, whatever.
I don't really care. I'm sorry. I'm losing steam on the military aspect of this. But like,
so the military term that popped out for me is sappers.
What are sappers?
They're... Okay, so the place that I've heard the word sappers most often is in Malazan Book of the Fallen.
Okay.
And the main, like...
By Steven Erikson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The troop that you follow around, which ends up getting winnowed down to like 6 people. I think two of their team are sappers, and they're basically like explosives technicians. They're kind of engineers, but they also do demolition stuff.
Okay.
And so that's why he mentions the whole area's mined, you'll need sappers.
Okay, somebody to soak up the damage.
No, to defuse the bombs.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, they don't soak up the damage. They are experts in the use of... Well,
you wouldn't defuse every mine.
Right, but you might detect a path through.
Oh, okay.
Or preemptively explode the mines before your troops go out across the field.
Yeah. He's like, what do you say? What do you mean this is going to be difficult? The Shalassans assured us this could be done with minimal losses. And he goes, General, they lied.
With luck, you could break through before they bring their big guns to bear. Even so, you're going to take heavy casualties.
The Shalassans assured us this could be done with minimal losses.
General, they lied. If Matok could be taken so easily, they'd have done it themselves.
If Matok could be taken so easily, they'd have done it themselves. And I wrote, it's almost as if the real intelligence isn't just doing what you're told. It's thinking about the things you're told. Almost as if intelligence
General
and
Franklin,
curiosity isn't
you should be
asset?
intelligent enough to learn when to follow orders.
Yeah, you should have guessed that they wouldn't need your help if it was so easy. There'd be minimal casualties. I feel like that's not that huge of a leap. And you are a fucking general. You didn't see that? Well, I guess not every general is a statistician.
But then he brings out the real reason they're there is because if they help the Shalassans, then they get to establish a military outpost there.
Yeah.
And
that'll give them a permanent
good
presence
old
in their sector.
American military ideology, military outposts everywhere, which like nobody else does.
He's like a sector which is strategically close to the Nard and the Centauri. There's a war on.
And which will ostensibly help in the Centauri-Narn war, but then we just keep the outpost there in perpetuity because strategic advantage, whatever.
And on a more personal front,
and
Dr. Franklin
a reminder to the Shalassans that, hey, there's a military outpost right here, so you better stay in line.
Right.
Yeah.
Team Earth, Galaxy Police, Universe Police.
Galaxy Police.
Fuck yeah. Freedom isn't free. It costs people like you and me at least $1.50. The only real conflict that matters in this whole section is when Dr. Franklin comes in and Sheridan's like, oh, I'm gonna you want coffee? I'll get coffee. And Dad Franklin is like, no, this isn't gonna take long. And then Sheridan has to stand there looking so fucking awkward this whole time. He's just like, Oh my God. And Dr. Franklin's dad is like, I'm busy, Stephen. What do you want? And he's like, I wanted to talk to you. I wanted to have a conversation. And he's like, we already talked. And he goes, yeah, but I said things I didn't mean. And he goes,
Well,
I didn't raise you
to say things you don't mean.
Oh my God. Are you fucking serious right now? And he's like, you know what, actually? I've got work to do, Stephen. I'm going to have to talk to you later. And he's like, it's always later with you, isn't it? And he goes, you're dismissed, doctor. And he goes, yes, sir.
And
he
salutes
him.
very-
Oh my God. And Sheridan's over there like, I don't want to be here. And then he's like, General.
They get a little man-to-man moment.
They do. Because he's like, listen, Sheridan, tell me something. When you destroyed the Black Star, did you feel like a murderer? That's what he's stuck on. He's like, he called me a murderer. Am I a murderer?
So Sheridan says, the Minbari consider me a murderer. And General Franklin, oof, but the Minbari are not your own flesh and blood.
I know.
And so from General Franklin's perspective, this is the source of conflict between him and his son, is that he thinks his son considers him a murderer.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah. And this is when Sheridan gets his, like, there's only one truth about war, and that's that people die. And killing is part of a soldier's job, and we can't deny it.
And then he kind of
we just have to
sells Dr. Franklin to General Franklin as using the words, the values that General Franklin actually respects.
Right, because he says, we just have to live with it and hope that our reasons for doing it are justified. Like, we have to hope that the reason that we're fighting is a good reason.
Right.
And the general says, if only my son could realize that. And he's like, sir, your son is one of the best men that I've ever served with. He will bend or break every rule there is. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a life to be saved, occasionally. I don't know about that one. Or pain to be soothed. He's a holy terror when his principles are challenged. And he's like, well, good, because that's the kind of man I raised him to be. And he's like, yeah, and my father used to say the same thing about me, but there were times when we clashed over principles. And in the end, we just had to realize that we were never going to be anything other than who we were. And that was okay too. But we never stopped talking to each other or loving each other. And I want to be like, oh, okay, I guess I'm better than you then.
So I think this is a good example of Sheridan is the son of a diplomat.
Yes.
And he can really work the room.
He can. He can read the room. Nobody else is reading the fucking room. But Sheridan can always read the room. He's like, listen, you can be two different people and you can still love each other. And you don't have to agree to continue having a conversation. And maybe you just need to realize that he's not going to be you and you're not going to be him, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, actually, it's been a long day. So let's do this. Let's take this up again tomorrow. And then they leave. And then we go back to Lou and Garibaldi. And this is the part where he's like, oh, this has been a circus, but we keeping the lid on. And Lou's like, I mean, for now, there's been a few fights, a few dips, nothing major. One of the dancers is missing from the Dark Star. And I wrote, ha ha, ha ha, hee hee. It's a missing woman, but don't worry. The Dark Star is the strip club, so it's just a sex worker. So she's not really important.
She's not a high value human woman.
I'm listening to another serial killer book because
you can't get enough.
I like cleaning to true crime. Okay. It's just a thing that I do. But it's this guy is one of America's most prolific serial killers. And the question was, how did he get away with what he got away with for so long? Yeah. And the answer is always because he killed sex workers. Because he killed people that are considered less dead. So they were saying that, around the time when he was really active, it was common to say, like, you'd call in a body and then you would say, like, no humans involved. There's a body in this dumpster, but no humans involved, which means it was a sex worker.
Wow.
And I forget who coined the phrase, but they're considered less dead. The most dead people are like young white college girls.
Right.
And then the scale goes from there down to sex workers who are basically no human involved. And so when Lou goes, one of the dancers is missing from Dark Star, and then laughs. This was not a moment that I loved, okay? It just was not. I think we're supposed to get they've run away together, like she's run off with somebody. Then say that. Don't say, haha, one of them's kidnapped. She could be chained up in a room. You have no idea.
If you want it to be lighthearted, you say, the rumor is she ran off with one of the Gropos.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not, I'm sure we're going to find her in Down Below with a new boyfriend next week or whatever. Like, give me a line that's like, but we know why she's missing.
Right.
Not
or like,
just
she has a reputation for, going on benders with her clients or whatever.
Yeah, not just ha ha he he. One of our dancers has been
missing.
kidnapped.
Ha ha ha.
Ha ha ha. No humans involved. Anyway.
Okay.
This is when
And then Dodger takes Garibaldi out on the town.
I know. She's like, hey, Lou, can I take mind if this guy shows me around the pup tent? And he's like, oh, I'm on duty. And Lou's like, nah, man, you go off. Have a good time. He's like, you sure? And he's
You
like,
two
yeah,
kids
man,
have
no
a good
sweat.
time.
Anything happens, I'll link in. He's like, oh, okay. Yeah, good. You have a great time. And this is when I put Dodger, no dodging. Dodger's like, great, cool. You can take me to a restaurant and then you could take me to your quarters. You know who can't read the room? Garibaldi.
Oh, he completely reads the room.
No, I don't think so. Because they go through
I think he's very interested in her. But
yeah,
he tells her, like, last few relationships, like, this isn't about you. This isn't about the idea of relationships. This is me trying to not fuck it up this time.
Yeah.
Because I keep fucking it up. And I like you. You're important enough to me that I want to not fuck it up. But she just wants to get laid before she goes off to potentially die.
Which is what he's not reading. That's what he misses out on.
Yeah, I guess in his mind, she's trying to date him, not just use his body.
And he started out as a ground pounder. Like, he started out as infantry. So he's well aware that this is a moment-to-moment lifestyle.
Yeah.
He should have appreciated that. And she says, I wasn't here to start housekeeping. I just wanted to fuck you, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's not going to happen. So peace out. And leaves. Like, they show up kissing. The next time we see them, they're kissing. And then he calls in to Lou to make sure everything's going to be okay. And he's like, yeah, I think everybody's going to bed. And that's when they're carrying an unconscious guy by Lou.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, see, it's a trend. Like, we're going to bed right now. And they start making out on the bed. And this was when he's like, wait, hang on a minute. We got to slow down. And she's like, why? Did I miss something? And he's like, no, it's just that my personal life has been really weird lately. So there was this lady that I was dating, but he goes off on this list about all the relationships that he's fucked up and how he likes Talia, but she's so far out of his league, he doesn't know what to do about it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I got a habit of messing up things that are important. And I wrote, like, right now.
Yeah.
And this isn't about relationships. It isn't about now. It's about, like, I've been thinking through things and you're making me think right now. And she's like, what are you fucking talking about?
Right, so
I just wanted to have sex with you.
At this point, he should have said, so, like, we're going to do it, but I want you to know that I also respect you and appreciate you as a woman.
Yeah, that's the line he needed to deliver right there.
And then get in the bed.
Yeah, and then be like, okay, now here's my favorite thing in the universe. Like, next to my Duck Dodgers poster, which is up there.
Yeah.
I think his noir detective was flaring up, and he was like, wait, I got to make this tragic. Hang on. Let me bring up my tragic backstory. When she's literally just like, I was here for a good time, not a long time. And he goes, maybe it's me and somebody else, but I don't want to blow it by moving too fast. And she's like, you know what? I got the message. I'm going to go because I wasn't here for housekeeping. I might be cleaning latrines one day and the next day I might be up to my hips in blood, hoping I don't hear the round that takes me out. So I just really like to remind myself that I'm alive and this isn't working for me anymore. So I'm going to go.
It's not romance, but it's all I got time for.
Yeah. And if that's not going to be enough for you, then, like, I got to go. This is an interesting role reversal because you would expect this from,
Yeah.
like, if Garibaldi was the feminine character and Dodger was the masculine character, you would expect this where he's just there for sex. And she's like, but this is going to mean something. And he's like, oh, no, it's not. No, I don't want it to mean anything. He tries to call her back in and she's like, spare me your pity, and then just leaves. And then we get like a moment with Ivanova and Sheridan, and it's just to be like, hey, we're getting the new stuff. It's getting installed. We have pulse cannons and interceptors and mine launchers and a tracking system and blah, 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 blah. And that's
let's hope we don't need to take on a warship.
Yeah. And then Dr. Franklin and Daddy Franklin get a chance to have a conversation. A real conversation for the first time in the entire episode.
Yeah.
And since this is the only plot that matters in this episode, I liked it. I did like this part because he's like, listen, I know it's difficult being the son of a career officer, and I'm aware that I'm always aware of death, but I forget that you're aware of my death too. I forget about that, but you still had no right to call me a murderer. I mean, I'm your father.
We know the situation's serious because General Franklin takes his glasses off.
I don't want to see you right now.
I don't want to get distracted by the details, so I'm gonna just
take
make
this off.
Make everything fuzzy.
He's like, you had no right to call me a murderer. My God, Stephen, I'm your father. Do you have so little respect for me? And he's like, it's not about respect. And he's like, then what is it about? And he's like, us, the way we talk to each other, or how we don't talk to each other. And he's like, I always listen to you. And he's like, yeah, you listen to me, but you don't hear what I'm saying. And it drives me crazy sometimes, especially when I don't know if I'm going to ever see you again. And he gets this really sweet moment where he's like, maybe this is just the way it is between fathers and sons, or like just us. But like, I've always respected you. You've given me strength and independence and courage. Like, you gave me the courage to be my own man, and then you were mad at me for being my own man.
Pretty much.
I couldn't have done what I did without you, and I owe you for that. And he's like, Stephen, he goes, like, I'm not finished. He says, over the years, I've said things to you that I shouldn't have, but I never said the one thing I should have, which is that I love you, Dad. I always have, and I always will. And this is a really sweet moment because he starts kind of crying. They both like cry a little, and then they man hug, and it's really cute. Mm-hmm. Like, this is the cutest moment in this entire episode. So naturally, we go straight back into the fray, and it's Large telling a story to Warren and Yang
at the bar.
And we find out that the buffer that he's been talking about this whole time was his buddy for 25 years. This guy has been an infantry for 30 years. He's never been promoted.
He's really good at his job.
If he's really good at his job, you get promoted out of your job.
It depends. You can turn down a promotion.
Maybe he's turned down promotions for 30 years?
Maybe.
I don't know, but his buddy got killed on the Mars Rebellion. And that's why he keeps telling stories about him.
Yeah.
And then he goes to the latrine for a minute. He's like, oh, I shouldn't have eaten all that. And then he's back like 30 seconds later. Did he shit in the corner? Did he just shit in the corner?
No, I thought he had to pee.
It was his stomach gurgles.
Oh, yeah.
And he grabs his stomach and he's like, oh, I shouldn't have eaten all that.
He mentions Yaktri or something.
Yaktoy or something. Yeah. And then he's like, oh, I shouldn't have eaten all that. And then he goes and then he comes back immediately. And then we find out that Yang just signed up. This is his first outing.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go to drink. And Garibaldi apologizes to Dodger. And then a giant fight breaks out. I mean, this is literally.
Yeah. Baldy starts a fight with Keffer.
The only important part about this is Dodger is like, we're not going to Io. I fucking know we're not going to Io because you appointed...
Old Firestorm would never lead a coffee and cake run.
Yeah, you appointed like a storied general to an Io run? I don't think so. And he's like, Garibaldi's like, what? No. She goes, you are a terrible liar. And he's like, you know what, actually, yeah, I'm a terrible liar. She goes, can I buy you a drink? And he's like, buy me a water. Which is nice. Nice that we carried that through.
Mm-hmm.
And then a big fight breaks out. And my favorite part about this is the fight breaks out and that one guy just goes, battle call! And then he leaps off the little elevated platform and grabs the hanging lamp for no fucking reason. There's nothing.
Drama.
Just nothing happening around him. And I'm either him, if I'm in this scene, I'm either the guy who just goes, battle call, and then just leaps onto a lamp for no reason, or I'm the lady who hit somebody in the face with a shoe. There's that lady who's just like, whack somebody with the shoe. It's like, what is happening? And the only thing that really matters in this is Garibaldi goes, I'm too old for this crap, which means he's probably already turned 39. To come point that out there.
Oh, man.
And maybe, he's not even 39, I don't think. Wasn't he like 36 or something the last time we looked? He's not too old for that shit. But anyway, and then they're like, hey guys, we're leaving. The sergeant guy shows up and he's like, this balloon's about to rise or something. Go back and get your shit and then head into the transports. Grab your gear, be at the launch point at 2200 hours. And Garibaldi turns to Dodger and he's like, you all right? And she goes, oh, that's the next best thing. That's the best thing next to sex. And he just goes, you're all right, which is not a question. He just says it. And then they head off. I mean, really, that's all that happens there. There's nothing. It's just the hardest part is when they're saying goodbye to the general. And he's like, good luck, sir. I hope I was wrong about Matak. And Daddy Franklin is like, well, these are good men and women, brave people. And I thought, yeah, good cannon fodder, which is all they are. So one way or another, we'll get the job done. One way or the other, we'll get the job done. But thanks for all of your help. And this is when he's like, Frank, can you give us a minute? And he dismisses Frank of no other name. And he's like, take care of yourself, Dad. That's what Steven says. He's like, you too, Steven. And for whatever disagreements we may have, you're your own man. And for that, I'm proud. And then he goes, when I get back, I promise we'll talk. And I just wrote, oh, he's going to die now.
In the meantime, call your mom and sisters.
Occasionally. And he's like, oh, all right. And then Garibaldi makes out with Dodger while she's in line and gets her yelled at. And he's like, come back. I want you to come back because I want to make sure that I want to see if this could be something between us. And she's like, okay, whatever, but you'll never know what you missed. And then leaves.
Yep. And then we cut to a news.
Yeah.
Broadcast.
Yeah. And it's just, hey, it happened. Here's the breakdown of what happened. And they talk to Daddy Franklin. And so they're all like, whew.
Yeah. And we get another long CG shot of.
We get a lot of CG in this one. Yes. No wonder they went over budget.
Yep.
And I don't know why he's wearing a jacket. He's got on like a Carhartt jacket or whatever. And his hand is positioned really weirdly, but I think he's holding like a stick or a riding crop of some kind. And it's tucked under his arm.
He's holding it when he first comes on to Babylon 5.
Oh, is he?
He's like a baton.
Yeah. Well, he's holding that under his arm, but it's not clear because the jacket's so puffy. So It just looks like and his other hand is like underneath it. So it looks like he's holding his hand really strange, but also cradling the weird hand. It's a moment. I don't know why they chose to do it that way, but it's fine. And he's like, okay, so you consider this a victory? That's what the ISN reporter says. And he's like, yes, but at a very high. And then he gets called off.
Yep.
And they're like, okay, well, we're going to be continuing live coverage throughout the day. And then they show up with the first casualty reports from
How did
Actor.
ISN get to the Shalisan planet at the same time as the military transports? Maybe they were also on Babylon 5 and they followed the military transports.
I don't know. That's a really interesting question there, Matthew. Maybe it's CG. Maybe they're not actually there. It looks like, and it is actually CG. I don't know. Because they would have had to be within, they were there for the battle because they recorded it.
It's within a few hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They could have been on Babylon 5 and maybe not followed them, but as soon as they realized there was fighting, because Babylon 5 is the closest jump point to the Shalasan sector.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's a really good point. Considering it was so super secret, we couldn't even tell Sheridan. It's not like anybody would have tipped off the press so that they would be there, so that they could make sure they covered it for popular opinions. I don't know. And they're like, we now return you to the ISN Broadcast Center where President Clark is expected to congratulate General Franklin on this victory. Meanwhile, preparations are underway, blah, blah, blah. But what happened really is they gave them the casualty reports.
Mm-hmm.
And Garibaldi just looks at it and then hands it off to
Keffer.
Warren
Mm-hmm.
and walks off screen.
And looks really sad. And then Keffer looks really sad.
Keffer looks really sad. And then we get this scene where we are panning past dead bodies. And the first one is Dodger.
Then Large.
Then Large.
Then Baldy.
Then the bald guy.
And then Yang.
And then Yang. And what a choice this was to end this episode with, and then they all died. I'm not okay. I'm not okay for like reasons other than I was not okay at the end of Gathering of the Shadows.
Mm-hmm.
Because big political things were happening, Coming of Shadows. The big things were happening in Coming of Shadows. And at the end of it, you were like, oh my God. Whew. And this was just like, hey guys, here's a bunch of cool characters. Oh, they're all dead. They're all dead because Earth wants to establish a base here.
In preparation for
they were completely
the Centaurian
willing.
Iron War.
They were willing to sacrifice up to and including 25,000 infantry troops
Mm-hmm.
to take this base that they knew was going to be so hard to do it that the Shalassans weren't doing it themselves.
Yep.
Oh, and don't worry, the only person we consulted for any kind of advice on how to assault this base was the random captain guy that we passed by on the way here.
Who went to Matok one time.
And who concluded with, you should just quit. This
Yeah.
is going to be too hard.
You're all going to die.
I mean, what the fuck, okay? Normally I can find it in me to like an episode.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
liked the Dr. Franklin parts.
Yeah.
Franklin and Franklin. I liked the family drama. I liked the deepening of Dr. Franklin's character because we haven't really done a lot of that. We've done him in a professional setting where it's like, what would he do if?
Mm-hmm.
But we haven't been like, does he have a dad?
Right. This is some personal
Does he have
development
sisters?
for
This
him.
was like, in terms of filler, it was filler, character development filler for Dr. Franklin,
Mhm.
which is great. Set against a background of like, what? To me, this felt similar to TKO, where it didn't matter. Like, the stakes don't matter and they don't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
So why even include it? Like, is there still a Muay Thai on Babylon 5?
Right. Is that still a recurring thing?
If humans can fight in it, did any of the ground pounders fight in it? It just went away. Right? And so we don't think we ever really come back to this. I don't know. Maybe we do. I will happily stand corrected. But this was such a heavy thing to include and then be like, well, anyway, on to next week. It feels like anytime we involve Earth Force, it's a very what the fuck moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like when that lady was coming to secure Babylon 5 for the president and they let her kill somebody.
Yep.
And then go and they're all like, well, she's a really good person, so it's fine.
She had a traumatic childhood.
So it's understandable. It's fine. Did we ever find the lady from Darkstar? Did we find her corpse? What happened? I need to know. Did Delenn hide in her quarters for the whole rest of the time because humans make her feel that unsafe?
Mm-hmm.
We just included some stuff that raises really large, like it leads to a very large conversation that we're not going to have. So
Right.
why even include it? It's fine. It's fine. It's done is what it is. It's done. So I don't know. I don't think we need to keep beating this dead horse to death. I think
No.
the horse was already dead and then, and then we beat it.
Yeah.
And then we opened it and we crawled inside for warmth so we could weather the storm. And then we came back out and we beat it again. So I think it's good. We'll leave it here. So I guess just we live for the one.
We would die for the one.
Until next time, friends.
Bye.
Bye.